As we are looking at ways to model networks through simulations, it is important to understand that we need to quantify things that we are going to use. With system becoming unavailable, it will have a devastating effect on the overall profitability of the organization. But can we quantify it? In this module, we shall see what is the impact of downtime from the known statistics available to us. And we shall take a stepwise approach to determine the cost of downtime. According to the famous Contingency Planning and Management magazine, 40% of the companies which remain unavailable, of course, such as shutdowns for continuous 3 days, actually fail within 3 years of their inception. It means that when the customers find the organization unavailable, they tend to break away from it. This chart shows that depending upon the kind of devastation, each organization reports the failures or the downtimes it has come across. On the x-axis, we see that from natural disasters to man-made errors to the communication failures, the percentage of companies reporting this vary. Thus far, though the natural disasters have contributed immensely 2 decades ago, it is actually changing and more errors or failures are emerging due to human errors. This particular graph motivates us to worry more about the cost involved with downtime. Similarly, from New England Disaster Recovery Information Exchange, we see that the failures which make the system unavailable have different levels of threat which they pose to an organization's profitability. You see that the red color is extreme threat, the orange one is no dire threat, and the yellow one is low-level threat. We see that the security, telecom failures, power outages, etc. have a significant threat to the overall profitability of an organization. Now we shall take a stepwise approach to measure the downtime. For that, there are 5 steps that we need to follow. The first one is to identify the business continuity components. We need to define what is to be protected. And then the IT functions which are most relevant to the organization must be pronounced. The outages which occur in an organization need to be classified according to space, time, and other parameters. And finally, it would help us to measure the overall cost. So the business continuity components, of course, would involve the IT infrastructure and the people. The organization which is looking for determining the total cost of downtime needs to understand that what are its core competencies or from which sector it is making money. This would involve specific products, services, and processes. Since these are to be protected, then certain IT functions must be prioritized. These would involve the core competency implementation along with the IT infrastructure associated. Here, generally speaking, Pareto distribution follows, that is, 80% of available resources would help us restore 20% of the failing systems. And finally, the outage types, frequencies, and durations must be documented. For example, in terms of space and the coverage, there could be an outage at the branch level, the regional level, the data center, or the entire national grid. In order to quantify, we need to look at an interesting relationship, that is the frequency with which the organization uses an application and it fails, the duration of failure, and the cost associated with it on an hourly basis. Let's look at this table. This table shows us the impact of outage. the minimum and maximum impact. For example, if you look at the branch, the minimum impact is going to have 1x and the maximum is 5x. It means that the minimum impact is only one time, 1 unit, and the maximum impact is up to 5 units of the basic unit that you define. Whereas at the national level, it could go up to 15 times and so forth. As an example, if there were 90 branch outages in average year, each costing $300 an hour, and each would last for 1.5 hours, then 90 outages in each comprising 1.5 hour duration, and the cost is $300 per hour. The total cost is going to be $40,500.